So for those who are not familiar with the finals, there's several game modes. He'll explain a little bit here, but there's also different classes. There's a heavy, there's a light, and there's a medium class. Of course, they have different levels of health and different levels of speed.
Okay, I've got high hopes for this one. Oh. Well, she didn't destroy the elevator. But that is quite some destruction.
You can see Frankie here right now is actually running with the light class. And the light class has most of the utility options, whereas the heavy class is a little more like, come at me, bro, fight me straight on. You'll see a little bit more as we go along here. But Frankie actually used to be one of my favorite YouTubers back in the old day, and he made these like big story-based videos, which were great, and people loved them. But he did fall into the regular path of becoming a YouTuber that commented on new games and random games, which I'm okay with. They're pretty good. He's good. He's an excellent content creator overall. And I've just recently played the finals actually, so I have maybe about 3 or 4 hours on the finals.
What even is this? Whoa!
So I know a bit about it so far.
Okay.
You can tell he's like brand new to the game here too. Okay, there's a lot of little things that are happening.
Oh,
that,
team's in a fight.
Even just a few hours in, I realized like, okay, this needs to happen.
Oh, do you reckon I can C4 that? Okay, C4's up. I think there is a team up here though, so I'm gonna have to be brave. Whoa. Oh no! Come on, oh, I was so lucky that guy dropped down. This is the finals, and I've been feeling a bit down recently because I've got a bit of a cold, but this game hasn't half cheered me up. It's probably the most interesting FPS in like 5 years. So I figured in this video, I'd get you started with a few tips, tricks, and hidden mechanics you might not know about. So quickly, there's 2 game modes. In the bank it game mode, you've got to deliver these cash boxes to vaults, and you can actually throw them in.
I didn't know that you could actually throw them in. That's really cool.
In the quick cash game mode, each player can carry coins to vaults. This guy got ambushed, so now I can deposit his coins. You can look like 45 degrees away from the vault whilst depositing if you want to keep an eye out. The length of a player's blue trail shows the amount of money they're carrying. That guy was loaded. The light class, you're speedy small, but you've only got 150 HP. You make up for that though with some of the best gadgets, like the breaching charge.
I love these kind of clips. You can tell because everybody's new. How like these guys are surprised to see each other. Oh, fancy meeting you here.
Or the grapple. And of course, you've got a taser. You can take a bold action sniper, does 125 to the body, and 225 to the head, so you can insta-kill light classes. It's kind of questionable at close range, as you'd expect. Sometimes your opponent is going to need to kill himself. The grapple's a bit of a weird one. You've got to aim a bit lower than where you want to go.
Yeah, it's very much...
If you hold it down...
Actually, previously went over that, but it's very much like the Apex Legends grappling hook. It allows you to like launch yourself around stuff. So if you grab something and you look in a different direction, you'll actually swing with the grappling or with that grappling hook around it. You'll see him do an example of this here where he loops around.
And you can actually circle back to where you were. If you want to drop off, press crouch. Now, instead of the grapple, you can take a cloak. I mean, it's surprisingly effective. You can also take a dagger, which does a charge, right-click, 330 damage backstab, which will insta-kill anything by heavy. See, there's something to be said for this. That's why I like this game, you know? You get the chance to outplay people. It's a thinking man's game.
It's weird, too. I don't know if it's just me, but the games that he's playing or the clips that he's showing are relatively slow. When I was playing it, it was very fast-paced. I don't know. I felt like there was no setup time, but it could have just been the game mode that I was playing, or it could have been the people that I was playing with.
Real thinking man's game. Now, if a knife is a little short for your liking, you can take a sword, and the right click is a lunge. You can charge the stab whilst invisible. It only does 85 damage though, so be careful who you attack, because with lucky here, that heavy missed his sledgehammer. Didn't really matter though, because this was my first time ever using a canister. We should probably talk about those. So around the map, there's different containers you can pick up. And yes, you can put C4 on them before you throw them for a extra surprise. Some of the pickups are hanging around the map, shall we say.
And that I didn't know of either. Like I've been running by those things.
Red exploding ones have actually got an arming time. But if you throw them and grab them back, you can actually prime them like a grenade.
If you melee them, you can prime them too.
There's a lot to tell you about goo later. But the goo containers, you can use as a sort of wrecking ball. Holding and meleeing containers activates them. Useful for the flammable barrel, which takes ages to explode. But make sure you only hold it for 4 seconds or it'll start burning you. Onto the heavy. 350 HP of, well, heavy's probably going to say pure muscle, but probably fat. Your job is to secure and defend positions, intimidate the enemy through your sheer size. You're a master of light machine guns and shotguns, and let's say you're not a fan of anger management, because your special ability is just a straight through the wall Hulk
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And you gotta watch out, because heavies can come from anywhere. Dropping and doing your special does a Hulk smash. By the way, heavies are too big to fit through grates. It's a booty problem. You may be a big boy, but you can still climb buildings. If you jump backwards out of a window, you can go in the one above until something above stops you.
Okay.
You're also packing an RPG. It's effective. 160 damage can one-shot a light. You can also take a sledgehammer if you want to. It's pretty good for pumpkin hunting. And if you're lucky, you'll get the opportunity for a heavy versus heavy sledgehammer off. Oh, there's nothing more majestic.
How much damage does that do? It does like
and this may seem like a side note, but you can literally level buildings with the right click of the sledgehammer. The right click does 200 damage with literally one shot a light. I mean, that is quite some destruction. You can switch your charge for a shield, by the way.
With a Reinhardt shield.
Speaking of, if you do get sick of swinging, you can take a flamethrower. Whoa, he was an eager beaver. Had to put the barbecue on full for that guy. By the way, flames and the pyronade clear gas. The heavy can take a goo gun, which is really handy for closing the distance with a flamethrower. And goo's flammable. This guy brought a suppressed pistol to a bonfire fight. That's just not right. We should probably talk about goo. You can build yourself a goo bridge. Sometimes it's just fun to glue people into elevators.
I didn't try any of this before. I
If
didn't
you
see it.
catch
This is
somebody
really
with a grenade
interesting.
launcher like this guy, he can be in there the whole game. All the classes can take a goo grenade. They're handy for stopping crazy people with grenade launchers. Blocking zip wires. If you stand on them, you can break walls or floors with them, but you need to be careful which ones. If you've bit off a bit more than you can chew, like this 1v1 here with a heavy, oh, and also on fire, not a good combo. You can lock yourself off in a corner to heal. Sneaky beaky like. If you're not feeling secure enough, put another one down. Anyway, the medium class, 250 HP, some of the best weapons in the game. Your special ability is a healing gun. That's perfect for when you've got a heavy with a panda hat on who's just desperate to smash. If your teammate died in a bad place, you can pick up their statue, throw them about a bit if you want to. You can also right-click to...
I would have saved my team so many times if I knew this originally. It wasn't until like the end of last night, where we were playing. Not last night, sorry. The end of the night before that we were playing, where I realized I could pick teammates up and then revive them.
Drop them. Most people don't know that. Because you've also got some defibs. They're a lot quicker than holding to revive, but they do have a downside. They're on a cooldown, and they only put your teammate back to 50% health, so you need to top them up. Also, you don't need 100% line of sight with the healing beam. Turns out the medium's equipped with a jump pad. It's kind of handy. Oh, and by the way, you can have a riot shield as well if you want one. I mean, sometimes in this game,
that reminds me.
I don't even know. Like, there's just something satisfying about hitting somebody in the head with a baton.
There we go. Turn the camera around.
Now, if there's some wild heavies about, I mean, he's never going to catch up. He's got a flamethrower. Also, you can bounce barrels off jump pads if you need a bit of extra range. You come packing with the ever-powerful AK. Some tips. Strafe asymmetrically if you can, especially against high-damage weapons. It makes you harder to hit.
Yeah, there we go.
If you're fighting in the open, strafe in a circle, so if somebody surprises you from the side, you're not an easy kill, and maybe you can get away. If you've got
the grappling hook in, I think, almost every single FPS game, every single FPS shooter should have some form of grappling hook or some kind of character with a grappling hook. Because
the upper hand, better cover and a better gun here, strafe with the enemy because it's easier to keep shots on target and you'll do more damage. If you haven't got the upper hand, it can help to anti-mirror the enemy's movement. So when they go to your right, you go to your left.
This is basic FPS stuff, but yeah, it makes sense.
You're forcing the enemy to aim at you. They can't just happen to have their crosshair on you. Bullets always hit the center of the screen, so if you've got a lot of movement, you can see from the sparks here, it doesn't line up with the iron sight.
Wait.
Finally, when you can, go for headshots. The AK does 50% more damage, and the revolver here literally does double the damage, 148. It'll nearly one-shot a light. But anyway, hope this was helpful. The game's extremely popular at the moment. There's obviously a lot more in it than I could show here. It's got 200,000 players on Steam, and it's really quite a breath of fresh air from all the Battle Royales recently.
It does seem like a good
There's
game.
no release date yet, but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't out before Christmas. On that note, I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the full release.